Hey everyone, it's Patty from pspapercrafts. Thank you so much for joining me on another Friday. We're going to do a fun fold again from my calendar. This is the last fun fold of August. Can you believe we're going into September? So we're making a triangle accordion, and I spelled accordion wrong. That should have an O in it. Pocket fold card. And this is fun. I found this on Pinterest. Where I usually find everything, and I kind of watched the video for Kathy Ondas. I don't know if I'm saying her name. She's Simply Cards with a K by Kathy. She found it from someone else, and you never know who originated it, but I used her measurements and followed her steps, so I wanted to give her the credit. But isn't it pretty? So it's a triple accordion, and then it has this pocket. So inside here, you can flip this open and write a little note and then put it back in here. And this is one of the cards that stand up nicely on a shelf or a counter or whatever. So when you see it, it looks like this. And I think it's really pretty. So I'm using the, and I want to show you a couple of things. I have some layers out here. So this is Nature's Sweetness. Yes, Nature's Sweetness. This is kind of from the annual catalog. It feels like it's so old, but it hasn't been that long. And when you cut your triangles, you can actually, you'll get enough to make a second card. So I have all my pieces that I can just whip together a second card. The other thing I wanted to tell you was I used the sprig or the bough punch, and it has two kind of sprigs, and I just punched the paper, and then I use that to decorate. So you can always do that. You can die cut your patterns. You don't know what it is, but it just gives it kind of a different look. So I thought that was pretty. And I think that's it on that. I got the sentiment from the Lovely and Sweet. It's all part of this suite. Just sending a bit of love your way. And then there's a die that goes with that. There are dies that cut out the patterns in the paper, some of these patterns. So it's a pretty cool set to have. So let's put that aside. And we're going to work with some new product today. So let me put this aside as well. So I've been getting and playing with some of the new product from the mini catalog. It's the September through December. We used to call it the holiday catalog, but we just have dates on it now. So that will be available for purchasing September 4th. So if there's anything that you see that you like, I'm trying to highlight some of the products so you know what they are. So we're going to use this gorgeous paper. It's very deep and rich and kind of Christmassy, but not really. And this is called Regal Winter Designer Series paper. We're going to use this sheet. I didn't cut a lot of the things because I wanted to show you the whole process today. So this is the other side of that. I mean, they're really deep. I think this is pretty. And this is almost the same. It just has, I think, Blackberry Bliss instead of, I believe this is Cherry Cobbler. So it's just, I kept looking at it like, wow, it looks the same. And then that's the back side of that. And then these. So pretty. This is pretty. So you get two of each pattern. And I just think it's pretty paper. I love our Designer Series paper. So where do we start with this card? I am going to use white, thick white cardstock for the card base. And I have some of the pieces cut, but I didn't cut my Designer Series paper. And let me get my trimmer because the card base is a little bit different. It's 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. So usually this is 8 1/2, and I'm sorry, it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/4. So it's a half of 8 1/2 by 11, and then you've got to trim off 1/4. So that's a little bit different. So I figured I would just show you that. So I'm going to just trim off 1/4. And then we have our card base. And then we can close this up. We're going to do a lot of scoring, and then we're going to do some more cutting, and then we have to cut all our Designer Series paper and our triangles. There's a lot involved in this, but just follow me along. I will have the directions and the measurements in a project sheet. There's a link below this video that you can print out or just look online and you can get all the measurements. But I'll shout them out as we go. So the first thing we're going to do is score our card base. So we're going to go on the 8 1/4 side, and we're going to put our cutting blade up so that we're using our light gray scoring. You could do this on the scoreboard as well if you have that. So we're just going to go 1 inch, and then we're going to move it into 2 inches. And this is the accordion piece. 3 inches. And I'm using white because I wanted to lighten up such dark colors. And then 4 inches. And then the next thing we have to do is, it's hard to see them, is we're going to cut off a piece from here to here. So we are going to mark it, and let's see, we want to mark it at 2 1/2. So I'm turning it kind of upside down so that it's, this is how I'm going to have my card. So I'm going to go on the inside, and I'm going to mark it at 1 1/2 with a pencil. Do I have a pencil? Let me just see it. I had it at my other work area. So 1 1/2, and we're just going to mark it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut from there to the 1, 2, 3. She said to count it to the third, what Kathy said was to put it in the groove and then count 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. But I'm going all the way to this. It seemed like it worked. So we're going from that mark to the third score line, and we'll cut it. So we'll put this down and we'll cut it. Okay. And I did it backwards, but it doesn't matter. That's the way we want it, right? So I guess it doesn't matter because then you can just fold it. So we're going to keep this out, and we're going to get our bone folder. And I just want to erase this little pencil mark. Okay. And then we're going to fold. I like to fold, it's backwards, so I like to fold this way. We're going to fold them all and score them, or burnish them, and then we'll fold them the other way. I like to fold where the groove is in. I know there's different people like different ways of doing this. So here's our card. And we're going to go back and forth and back, just like an accordion. Okay, so this is how your card will look. We'll call it a W. There's always a letter for your folds, right? So then we have all of our white pieces. This is for the inside, so I'm going to leave that there. We have a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're going to cut all of these right in half on the diagonal. So we're going to go from top to bottom corner. Okay. And I like to start in the middle and cut out. So you're going to save those pieces for another card. This one is 5 by 3 3/4. And we're just going to do the same thing for each of them. And then again, you can save it for a second card. 2. And I just went corner to corner. Like I said, I don't like to. I don't like to start in the corner because sometimes it makes it funny. That's what I mean by that. So I'm going to start out a little bit and then come down. So these we're going to put aside for another card, another day. And we'll put these here. So now we have our card. And this is the same color. So on this one I used Pebble Path. And the triangles I used are also Pebble Path. So it all coordinates. Okay. So that's that. Now we need our designer series paper. And if your designer series paper has a direction, you want to make sure you're cutting it the right way. So the sizes that we're going to cut, the first one is 3 3/4 by 5. So we're going to go out to 3 3/4, and you're going to have to use a little bit of this paper, and some of it may get wasted, but it's okay. You use it for scraps. So 3 3/4 by 5. This is the biggest one. And then the next one is 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. So I'm going to just come out to 3 1/2, or I'm sorry, 4 1/2. So the long one is what's going down. So 4 1/2, is that right? 4 1/2. I'll get it right. 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. Okay, so that's the next one. And then the last one is 3 by 4. And this is not big enough. So you can save this for something else. So I am going to go 4 because I like to have a 4-inch layer. So I'll use the other pieces for another card. So I didn't want to go all the way down to 3. So I'm going to go, I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go 4-inch this way, and then I'm going to cut it back down to 3. So now I can use this for a card front. I didn't cut it too far. So now I'm going to cut it down to 3. I hope that makes sense. So it's 4 by 3, 4 by 3, but I wanted to have my leftover piece to be able to use as a card front. So just think about when you're cutting, how you're cutting. And really double check your directions. Now I made the mistake. Let me see if I have it. So when I cut this for the other card, for this card, I cut it this way, and now my pieces are not right. Okay, so you want to cut from the top left down to the bottom right. Okay, live and learn. So I'll have to make some kind of a card that goes this way, or I can use this side to use it. So either flip your thing over if you don't want to do it that way. Like if you wanted to go that way, flip it over first. But I would say just, we're going to cut each diagonal just like the other, the cardstock, but we want to go from the top left to the bottom right so that your pieces will work. Now this one, I don't think, well, let's see. Before I say anything, let's see how it works. I'm not sure that the other piece will work. It will, yes. So now you can make 2 cards out of this. So we'll put this aside, and then we're going to go top left, bottom right, put it in the groove. Put this one aside and hold on to this one. And this one isn't totally directional. I mean, it seems to me like there's an upside and a downside. Seems like it goes this way. But I guess it's not really. It's kind of an all-over pattern. Okay, so now we have our pieces, and then we have our leftover pieces. So I think we're done with this for a few minutes. And now we want to put our pieces together. So the easiest thing, the first step, is to just lay these right on here. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to use my liquid glue. And we're just going to lay each piece on top of each other. Just like this. Look at how rich that is. So this paper says it has cherry cobbler in it. I wasn't sure, and berry burst. I wasn't sure if that red, it's such a deep red. So we're going to actually stamp in cherry cobbler. Sometimes the shades, and I was trying to figure out this blue, what color blue it is, and it's actually Night of Navy. And then there's Pretty Peacock. So we are going to stamp in cherry cobbler and Pretty Peacock. So this, we'll just put each piece down. And I love things that are dark patterns that are darker on a white layer. I think it really makes it jump out. So 2, and then the third one. And then you have to really pay attention. We're going to adhere these to the card base. And you really have to be careful where you glue so that you don't glue your card together so it doesn't open. And this one, I decided I would make it's going to be a birthday card, and we're going to put a, inside this, we're going to put a little gift card. So I thought that would be good. So now we're going to lay these pieces, the smallest one to the biggest one, right here. Okay, so you only want to put glue here, and I wouldn't even go all the way up on the first one because it kind of hangs off a little bit. So you don't want to go to the tip, but you only want to put glue here. Don't put it anywhere else. So like, think about that. And again, we don't want to go to the top. Just put it on the edge. And then we want to line this edge and the bottom right up so that they're perfect, especially on the bottom because you want it to stand up nicely. And it pulls out the white in here, which I think is nice. So the same thing with this one. And then the third one is going to be a little bit different. And this one you can go all the way to the top. It doesn't really hang over. And this one we're going to put in here on this fold. And make sure it doesn't go over the fold because you want to be able to fold it. You don't want to go over that score line. Okay, so now we have 2 of them done. Isn't that pretty? Now this one is where the pocket's going to go. So we want to only put glue down this side and this side. We don't want to put any in here because we want to be able to put our little note in there. So we're going to go all the way along. And this, you want a strong glue. I mean, the liquid glue is strong. If you have tear and tape or Seal Plus, one of those glues. And we want to go all the way to the bottom. Got a little bit of glue there to the top. Make sure it's flush with the bottom. See, the liquid glue lets you kind of move it around a little bit. Okay, so here we have it. So cute. So now let's work on our little pocket card part. So this piece is 8 by 2.5, and we're going to score it at 4. So let me get my tool out again. And we're just going to go to 4 inches with our scoring blade. And let's put this aside. So let's just get this and burnish it down. And then I have this other piece. It's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And this will be the matte. Let's see how that's going to look. Oh, I think it looks good. It does pull out the pretty peacock. So this is the note card. And on the outside, I decided to do a birthday card, like I said. And we're going to do Hooray for Surprises. Hope your birthday is wonderful. And I'm going to stamp that in pretty peacock ink. Hope your birthday is wonderful. And then I have this flower, and the flower is from the stamp set that goes with this paper, Regal Floral. And you can do one of these other sentiments, but I really wanted this to be a birthday card. So we're going to do this one, and we'll use some cherry cobbler ink. And just, I probably better to stamp it while it's open, right? Let's try this again. Okay, what do you think of that? Pretty? I mean, you could decorate this however you want. I probably won't put anything on the inside. Maybe we'll put a little strip of this paper that we have left. Yes, I had this one. So, oh, it'll fit just like this. Look at that. So I'm going to just cut a piece. I usually do 3/4 of an inch. Let's see how that's going to look. I think that's good. I like how that turned out, that it fit perfectly. So this is actually, what is it? It's 2, I'm looking at my ruler, 2.5. So we'll put this right inside. I'll go this way. All right, and then we can lay this on top of the piece here, and then you can write a little note. Oh no, wait, never mind. Let's put this aside. I wanted to make this a gift card. It fits right in there. So, do we want to have this on there? I guess we could do that. And then have this on top. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm not going to put any kind of a sentiment inside. I feel like the outside is good, and you can write a little note up here if you wanted to. Let them know who it's from. And then I thought we could just take a couple of glue dots. And put them down. You know how you get the things that have that thing of glue on the back that you can peel off? I thought that would work. And before we do that, let's put this down on the mat. This is a very nice, like, fall or winter birthday card, don't you think? And let's see how this is going to fit. And you could even put a note underneath the card if you wanted to. And then this will fit right in here. And I'm wondering, should we put some kind of bling up here? I did on this one because it's not really covered up. So let me find something to put on it. So they're the adhesive back dots. They're called Regal foiled adhesive back dots. These are part of the suite. So look at the colors, how beautiful. I'll probably use these. I also want to mention there's this gorgeous ribbon. Let's open it up. I haven't even opened everything that I've received. That goes also with the suite. And this is a, I think it's a velvet. Blackberry Bliss in gold. And it is a textured ribbon. It's very pretty. I love Blackberry Bliss. If you ever watch me, you know that. And then there's the stamp set and there's dies. So this is a card I made on my blog last week. And the dies, they're really cool. There's a die that cuts like this. Let me get it. So it's one of those dies that cuts 2 layers. Let me just show you. So you can stamp and cut out the flowers. Let me just show you this new product. I know we're in the middle of this. So you can stamp and cut this, 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 and this. And then there's this big die, which I think is really cool. So it cuts out, you have to cut it twice to get 2 different colors. So I cut it once with white and then once with the soft sea foam, and got this kind of outside layer. And then there's this other little die. It's kind of an intricate die. I haven't used that one yet. So these are some new products in the catalog, and I figured while I'm showing you, I'll show you the whole suite, the whole kit and caboodle. So you can get the information on my blog for this one. So let's use some of these pretty colors here. I think they might be Blackberry Bliss or Cherry Cobbler. I don't know. So I'm going to do kind of the same thing. We're just going to go down in a line. Oops. Oh, sometimes I have a hard time with these. There we go. We're going to go right down like this. Let's try this again, pointing it in. Okay, it's going to be one of these days. This works great sometimes, and sometimes I just struggle with it. I do need to get a new putty. I'll blame it on the putty. Okay, so what do you think? This will stand up nicely like this. So if you were looking at it, you can't see it this way, but if you're looking at it, it stands up like this. And then you can take this out. Hope your birthday is wonderful. And you have this little gift card in there. And then there's this one. Just sending a bit of love your way. And this one opens like this. So pretty. So I'm working on my calendar for next month. If you want to get my calendar each month, you can subscribe to my email list, and then we do a Fun Fold Friday or technique or something different on Fridays on a video. So thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you next week. Bye.